So I'm working on editing more autocross videos, and in this one you can see the Miata, the Subaru STI, and then my car come into frame. And the guy kept yelling at me and the STI to drop back and space out, and it was because the Miata was drifting. If you saw my other videos, you could start to see it in that. You could hear the Miata rev up and see it sort of drifting in clips. So in this one, like the whole time, we're just slowing down constantly so this kid can drift. And anytime you're racing go-karts or anything else, slower cars are generally polite and move over. But this kid just had no idea that he's just ruining it for everyone else, and we have to keep slowing down. Me and the STI had some good racing going, but we'd have to slow down, and he was slowing down way more than I was. I didn't really care. I just kept getting right on the STI's bumper because we were having fun. The STI driver actually apologized to me because he couldn't go faster and said that he kept getting yelled at to drop back and go slower. And I'm just going to let this play through for a second because we just slowed down like a lap before, so we're not even running like full laps without slowing down for this guy, and you'll see the Subaru just slow down, so then I have to slow down. This kid just drifts the next corner, so we catch right back up. We're in. And you'll see later in the video, there was another Miata there that was set up for autocross, and this guy was actually like putting in good times. The slow Miata was literally some kid whose parents brought him there. This really gets good about 3 minutes in, but you can see all the distance there between me and the Subaru and the Miata. And let's just see how long it takes me to catch the Subaru. So I'm going to run this through unedited, and we'll see how long it takes before the Subaru has to just stop and I have to stop. The video is going to jump right here, but it's just the dash cam switching files. You can tell by the timestamp that that's all that was. It just went 1 second, switched files. There's the Miata going across the start-finish line, and you probably heard it just rev up and tack out again. And here we come back around again to the finish line and tacks up. Me and the Subaru have to just stop so he can drift, and nobody's impressed by a shitbox Miata drifting. This video should be called Shitbox Miata Ruins Autocross Event for Everyone Else. And it has nothing to do with being rear-wheel drive, because there was another Miata there that was putting in good times in the next video, keeping up behind me. So the next time out, I get stuck behind that drifter kid, so they let him go and give him a good head start, and then let the M3 go behind him, and then put me behind the M3. So we'll see how long that lasts. So I do get one, maybe 1.5, 2 laps max running hard here, and then I have to slow down because of the Miata. So now the M3's caught up to the Miata, I'm catching the M3, and the other Miata's caught up to me, behind me. And of course the kid spins out, and the M3 gets lucky, makes it by him, and then doesn't have to worry about him anymore. But not me, I'm stuck behind him now. When we started, we were spaced out over the whole track, but now for some reason everyone's bunched up behind the Miata. If you've been watching this long, you probably understand the track, and I'll reel this guy in before we go up the hill on the other side, and at that point I'm not even on the R32 hard, like I'm letting off and not trying. Like, seriously. And the guy running the event looked at me like I was crazy when I complained about, like, being stuck behind a Miata. And he's like, oh, just drop back a little. Like, haven't you been paying attention all day when everyone's dropping back for this one car because the kid thinks he's, like, a drift car? And I literally just lost interest and quit early at this point, because what the fuck. A number of people agreed with me and some of them quit too, and the Subaru driver apologized to me because he couldn't go faster. Like, come on, we're at a racetrack. How about tell this kid not to drift and teach him what autocross is? And if you saw at the start when that guy was stretching his arms out telling us to drop back, this is another time when we're both getting yelled at, and it's a different time, you can tell, because he doesn't stretch his arms the same way. But he's still telling us, you know, drop back and space out. So it's like a leisurely drive behind a Subaru on any public road, basically. And now we'll get into some of the highlights, you know, possible drifting right there of the R32, maybe it got a little sideways, slow motion action. And a couple more times where it slaps the Cooper lip on the ground. So that's why I kind of lost interest in editing the autocross videos, but I'll see what I can do with the rest of it. There's definitely some good highlights. A bunch of other cars crashed into the grass. The Corvette messed his whole front end up. The Porsche went off a bunch of times. I really don't understand how you would crash. Maybe it's just because I have all-wheel drive. I don't get it. Or maybe it's because I'm a super genius and built my suspension on my own, by myself, on my own. I'll put links below to the first 3 or 4 parts of the autocross. There are some different track configurations and stuff like that. So on this one it's the smaller time circuit with like a chicane of cones on the backstretch. Some pretty good exhaust noises from this one.